Hello everybody! This video will teach you how to play walking bass lines with your left hand on the piano, just as I did it in the intro tune. We will go through 12 examples that show you different methods how to build a walking bass line. Most of them use a 2-5-1-6 progression as example. In the end of the video, I will demonstrate you 2 complete walking bass lines over the standards Autumn Leaves and Take the A Train. If you want to jump there right now, the direct timestamp links are in the video description. So what exactly does the term walking bass mean? It's an improvised quarter note bass line that connects chords of the tune while providing both a harmonic foundation and a steady rhythmic pulse. Most of the time, the root of the current chord is being played on beat 1 of a bar. The line then typically progresses using either stepwise or chromatic motion most of the time, or leaps, that means bigger interval jumps, not quite as often. After knowing that the root is being played on beat 1, our task is now to find out what notes to play on the other 3 beats of a bar. Let's have a look at our first example. We play the roots on beats 1 and 3, and the 5th of the chord on beats 2 and 4. Of course, we can jump either up or down to the 5th. Example 2 is basically the same, but on beat 4 we will be using a chromatic approach note to the next chord's root from either above or below. Let's start with chromatic approach from above. Those approach notes like the A flat on beat 4 of bar 1 imply a new temporary chord on beat 4, the substitute secondary dominant of the next chord. In our case, D7 would be the secondary dominant of G7. And a tritone away, there's its tritone substitute, A flat 7. So let's hear it with the chords added by the right hand, which you normally wouldn't do too often, by the way. Of course, we can also approach the next chord from a semitone below. If we combine approaches from below and above and use them both, this could be the result. Only playing roots, fifths and approaches might get a little boring, so while still playing the root on beat 1, let's practice using all other chord tones, the 3, the 5 and the 7 on beats 2, 3 and 4. We still have leaps in our line. These can be partly closed by adding tension notes 9, 11 and 13 of the current chord to our repertoire of available notes. In many cases, these tension notes are also part of the scale of the current key we're in. Another example, this time we use the property of the 2-5-1 to resolve down a perfect 5th And starting from D in bar 1, we walk down 4 steps diatonically in the C major scale to the root of the next chord G7, and then 4 steps down again to C. If we'd like to invert this motion, so if we wanted to go up from D to G, we might encounter a little problem using our current repertoire of available notes, because we already reached G after 3 steps, so 1 note too early. We need to insert either a chromatic passing note on beats 2 or 3, or a chromatic approach on beat 4. So we could do it like this. The same thing applies to measure 2. Here we could insert either A flat or B flat as a chromatic passing note from G to C. Let's play those two in context. When using different chromatic passing notes, we get this. Now to spice things up, let's occasionally not play the root on beat 1, but the 3rd of the chord instead. Sometimes also the 5th or 7th of a chord sounds nice on beat 1. It's up to you to experiment. Up to now, we had bar-wise rhythmic motion of chords. But what if there's 2 bars to fill with the same chord? To add some variety here, we could change beat 1 of either bar 1 or 2 and not play the root there. Another try. If it's the other way around, where we might encounter 2 chords per measure, the simplest way to handle this would be using an alternating root 5th pattern. Of course, instead of the 5th, we can as well play a diatonic or chromatic approach note after each root. Another thing to be aware of, you don't have to play all the time in quarter notes. Try to slow it down to half notes occasionally, using the same methods we already talked about. A nice variant might be to mix quarter note walking bass parts with half note lines. For even more variety, use rhythmic embellishments, grace notes, swing 8th notes or 8th notes triplets here and there. So these methods should get you started. As I promised in the introduction, here are complete walking bass lines of two well-known tunes. Autumn Leaves comes first. And here is Take the A Train. So that's it for now. I hope you liked this video. If so, please subscribe to this channel and leave me a like. Happy practicing!